And we are live. Greetings, peoples. You
I would
see,
like to start off this episode with a joke, ladies and gentlemen, and all genders in between. What do lesbian pirates say? Genders in
what?
Scissor between. Me timbers.
What?
Oh, come on.
I,
No. What do lesbians do?
right, right. Oh, right. Okay, that took me a few seconds.
So now I can go back to.
Welcome
I
back.
heard this in a Modern Warfare lobby.
What?
It was just everybody just entered. That was the first thing that somebody said, and the entire lobby just cracked up. So, if you're looking for a good pickup line and you're thinking of using that, don't.
No, actually, because um, here's the thing: if you say, you know, that channel that like says lame puns as they're shopping, and his wife's just like, "I want to kill myself every time." He just walks around, picks like a food, and it's like, it's called like,
Oh, I know what you're talking
yeah.
about. Yeah.
See,
Making his stupid put. Yeah.
like he makes like millions of bucks from these videos, right? So if you are successful in throwing a lame joke as a pickup line, the girl may remember that and be like, "Huh, that's a potential moneymaker." So that's a desirable quality.
You know what else is a desirable quality?
Yes?
Me being back on this bitch. How are you all doing? Welcome to this week's episode of the Salt Grinder.
Dude, I'm so out of tradition, I forgot the glasses were a thing for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I forgot living in my house was a thing for like 3 weeks. I forgot what it felt like to sleep in my bed, which I technically have not done yet. Just got back today. Feels good to be in the house again. Everything is just as I left it, except for a new camera angle, obviously. And we're not letting Trillion out to dry this time. I literally could not stream because of circumstance the past 2 weeks, but this time I didn't just come to help carry Trillion. We brought another. Say hello, would you? Okay, so welcome to this week's. I already did that. What's on the topic list today? I don't know because I just got back, but I assume there's some bullshit still going on with Overwatch or Fortnite 2 or the president or esports or cows. You know, is milk good or bad this week?
No,
No one knows.
let's leave all that aside. I want a story. Now, you sent me a very particular text, and I'm gonna directly quote you on it, and I want context because such rage does not come like without a story. And it was in the beginning. Um, Fuck Mother Nature. Context, please.
Can you say that again? There was a massive lag.
Oh dear. Fuck Mother Nature.
Ah, yes. Well, you see, when a boy and a girl really like each other and they're old enough, the bird will come and deliver, the white swan will come and deliver a child to them. And then once they have the baby, they get in a room together and start fucking, start scissoring their own way, right? And that's the way Mother Nature intended. But what Mother Nature also intended is that whenever it's a normal sunny day in California, that's like a death sentence, potentially. I was just sitting there minding my own business, playing with my balls. And before you knew it, I got an evacuation notice and the power went out. And then all of a sudden, a cop drove by and with the sirens on, which we now know in California in this day and age means get the fuck out of your house and go. You can't stay here, but go somewhere else, right? And it's because we had another outbreak. A lot of you have probably heard the stories, heard the headlines. California has 600 active wildfires at the moment, and the one that was nearby my place is still not technically put out. It's very close, but they just started restoring power as of late, and they're allowing people to come back, and that's just my area, my community. There's a bunch of other ones, specifically in Southern California. I live in Northern California. This used to be a Southern California problem, and we would mock them for that. Now we're starting to feel it too, and the whole country, or the whole state, is up in flames. And because of that, there's housing dilemmas, there's agricultural dilemmas, there's education dilemmas because entire schools are getting burnt down. So where are the kids going to spend the rest of their daycares or in their indoctrination sessions? It's just one giant clusterfuck that thankfully I don't have to put up with anymore because I'm not the one who has to make the tough decisions. He does. But I'm glad to be back, even though in theory the entire home around me is still in blazes, in giant infernos. But in the meantime, I am here to talk about what matters most.
No,
Which I still don't know what it is because I don't know what
no.
we're talking. I've been out of the
It.
loop.
We're gonna prepare. I have some topics prepared for you, Lewi, but I still need to understand something. Whose fault is this? This time.
You see, I didn't like to point fingers the first time when this happened 2 years ago, and I don't want to point fingers now. However, there is substantial evidence that allegedly, I have to say multiple times in case I lag and like it skips over the word. So allegedly, PG&E, which is the main power provider here, and they do have a monopoly here in the state of California. It just so happened that 8 minutes before a certain power plant or power line was going to be shut off permanently, there was a spark that rooted from it. And before you knew it, that seemed to have caused this particular fire that affected me. And there's video evidence of it, allegedly. And so allegedly they're going to get another round of lawsuits. A lot of people have been following the lawsuits that they've been dealing with since the last major fire dilemma because they haven't sorted those out yet. And so it is allegedly PG&E's fault. And the worst part is they were 8 minutes away from stopping this natural disaster. So there's your answer.
Here's where I don't get, Lewi. Here in Kuwait, okay, everybody would complain and bitch about how, backwards we are and how, like, in the US and in Europe, there are all these advancements and they're way more organized and everything is better there and there's rainbow under the sun and all that stuff, little rainbows and snowflakes under the sun, right? And we've never had any crisis with our power outlets ever. And the worst we got it is it shuts down for a day and for 6 hours or something, and the entire country grinds at like to a halt and bitches at the inefficiency. And we like start campaigning, we start firing people for like that 6 hour outage. How come Cali gets it like on an annual basis now?
Well, we've always had fire troubles. We are a fire and earthquake state. And the thing with Cali is that they've progressively had fire safety regulations that they keep pushing year after year because they keep getting worse. The Tums fire and the Kincaid fire that happened 2 or 3 years ago, that was a turning point where they decided to take major action. And by major action, I just mean they spam the ever-living shit out of your phone. Like, fire in your area, fire 200 miles from your area, if evacuation's happening 500 miles away from where you are, and you're just like, what the fuck? Why am I getting these? But it's because they want to cover all their bases, because that was one of the major complaints. And there are a lot of people suing the state of California as well, because of the lack of efficiency in dealing with fire crises. I suppose the sad part about it is that it also helps the industry boom, particularly an industry that was suffering here in the state for a while, and that is construction. You mentioned that in your last stream, right? Construction companies are happy. That's why a lot of people do think that it's a conspiracy, or that it was some arbitrary form of arson, right? That the construction companies, they started these fires so that they would have work again. In contrast, however, they get work, but you have to consider that for as long as these fires are raging, a lot of evacuated communities are losing money, they're losing time, they're losing efficiency themselves. And this is efficiency for California, which is, I believe, single-handedly, they're like the 6th largest GDP. So you can imagine how unhappy we are about losing that much money. And the entire country is very unhappy. I mean, there's a reason why Trump is so quick. Even though he hates California and what they stand for, there's a reason he immediately sent out or declared a state of emergency and sent us aid, because he knows what's at stake here. But that's not going to stop the amount of people that are upset. It's not going to stop the destruction that was made. And so at this point, we pray. And it's kind of the equivalent of like thoughts and prayers whenever there's a mass shooting.
Yeah.
Right. California doesn't necessarily have like the most mass shootings. We have other things to worry about, but it's the same response, thoughts and prayers. And every once in a while, when there's enough outrage, and it remains to be seen if there will be outrage this time, because like I said, there's a lot of communities still on fire. Then we'll see if something more gets done. But hey, we have text messages, right? We get alerts now on our phones. Fun stuff.
Moving on to the north of America. So
I have another joke before we move on, by the way.
Sure, go ahead.
Your beard. That is all. Also, special shout out to Hassan. I see you in the comments. I saw you last week in the stream. Thanks for coming in and carrying Trillion. You know, he really needs the help. He doesn't do well on his own. He doesn't. He plays well with others, maybe too well. But and by too well, I mean he just lets you overtake everything. And hey, let's keep it PG-13 here, Trillion. Okay?
What? I didn't do anything.
Go on. I just wanted to thank Hassan for stepping in.
Yes, I
could not.
Actually, Hassan was surprised. I love how Hassan was like, "Oh, I'm better at the comments. I don't want to show up because I may be not that great." And then he goes on 10-minute tangents on topics, and I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean you're better at the comments? You should hop in, more often. Just blur out everything. That's the best."
Some people are shy. Some people they inhibit a strange sense of shyness, and then once they get in front of the camera and you get them rolling, then they show the true colors, and that's what we need for this stream.
Now,
come on, Trillion's not going to do it.
Yeah.
You expect this stream to be... This stream is good because of one thing, and he's sitting over there.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, moving.
I slept in a car for 2 days.
That's actually not too bad. I love car sleeping.
It's actually not too bad when it's moving. I can fall asleep immediately when it's moving. When we had to stop in a parking lot on the way over where we were going, I found that out about myself. I don't do well sleeping just in a car, just there while it's stationary. it needs to be because
Yeah,
I love taking the car out to drive.
yeah.
I love the feeling.
There's something therapeutic about the moving car, and you're in the passenger seat. That just.
There's a rhythm to it.
I'm
Exactly.
notorious for sleeping in cars when they're moving. If I'm not driving and the road is long, I'm like, just I go out right away. I don't even lay back or anything. I just pass out. But that's not important. Canada, an election
Ew.
happened, and
Ew.
guess who got reelected?
Yeah. I guess I kind of heard about that.
uh, Blackface
People
got
kind, right?
reelected.
Humankind or whatever. People kind.
Uh, People kind blackface got elected again. Ah, it's beautiful. Ah,
Dude, I'm waiting for him to claim that he's transgender just so he knows that he understand just to try to convince that community that he understands them.
anything, right? Anything to get the votes. I was kind of surprised that he won that one, but then again, I saw the candidate list, and there wasn't anybody. It's like how do I even describe it? Like imagine like a guy from the NBA, okay, the shittiest NBA player, going to a high school league. You know that's how it looked like. Nobody was actually wanting to win. That's how I saw it, at least in the Canadian elections. Like there was a Sikh guy. Like what are you doing there? How did you make it? But that's not the worst of it.
They need to put something up against them.
But that's not the worst of it, right? I got this from our friend Ma in Canada, who's studying in Canada. Um, it goes something like this. They started passing ribbons, and the ribbons are like a flower, the poppy, right? And they started passing around rainbow poppies all around to support the LGBT whatever, right? You know, their LGBTQ character of choice for the morning, right? And
Oh my god.
and uh, the military, like conservatives, got super offended and super angry at the people because the red poppy is a symbol of Canada, like of the military, and it's been like has a lot of honors attached to it and stuff like that. And they're like, you're degrading it. Stop using it, right? And the LGBTQ people, being the fuck faces that they are, of course, did not check their privilege, right? And they started they're justifying that, oh, this is different and all that. But the highlight of this topic is that two, I think two high school girls, and girls, keep that in mind, got suspended because one refused to wear the ribbon and the other was telling people to stop wearing it. Suspended for that because they caused hate and threatened the community.
Girls? Aren't they like invincible these days?
That's the importance of this highlight. First, I thank the
That's what we
girls
thought.
for being reasonable people, even though
Bitch, you
they're
thought.
right. But they would go against their own if it spreads hate.
Well, okay, I have heard that stupid argument, right? Like one girl disagrees with another girl on feminism. The feminist girl always says like you're a traitor to your gender.
Yep.
The girl's like, nope, I like what do you say to that?
There is nothing to say. It's like saying
It's just dumb.
it's it's nothing you can prove, nothing you can back. The only thing you can do is like, no, you are, and it's a cat fight. You know, just who points the finger better. Um,
No, I've definitely heard that. It's and you're not the you're not the only one to bring that to people's attention, right? Like something happened and then the girls are the ones affected. And usually people laugh it off because it's like, you reap what you sow, you bitch, right? It's like you did this, but that's usually with a lot of social justice issues. Um,
No,
and now we see this, and it doesn't surprise me actually, especially regarding Canada, that you
yeah.
can't protest anything anymore. I've always thought that Justin Trudeau is a fascist in disguise. That's it's a hyperbolic term, but only because people on his side of the political spectrum tend to exhibit those types of behaviors, despite claiming that they're trying to rectify against them or trying to combat them. It's the same irony that exists here in the States. It's like, who are the real racists? Who are the real fascists? The far left, which is trying to get people to stop being racist and have free speech, and they're telling people who they can hang out with and what they can do, and it's what they should be doing. It's
Hey,
the same
that's
dynamic.
that's actually interesting, mainly because America is going a bit on the opposite direction when it comes to the support for the SJW propaganda, uh, cancel culture thingies, and and what happened was like Obama, like in a conference, started uh, calling out all the Twitter activists, telling them you're not activists, shut the fuck up, and then people. More people, I guess, use that as their jumping off point. And whenever somebody bitched and moaned and complained for the last 2 weeks, people have been more encouraged in the U.S. to actually speak up against them. After that, after one of the Democrats told people to fucking take a chill pill.
Well, and it means a lot more coming from Obama because Nancy Pelosi was always speaking to this. Hillary Clinton at one point even spoke to it. She's reverted back for obvious reasons, right? Her base exists in the fantasy that she would have been a great leader, the fantasy that she's a great person just because she's a woman, right? So it's easier to surrender yourself to that type of praise. But with Obama, it was interesting because he's technically been out of the limelight and he's able to see what he's sown, right? And he's able to see it from a distance. And I think that he's always projected that he's a level-headed person, even despite his decisions. And so when that came out, I actually was not surprised, but I did get the idea of like Obama, SJWs, pot, meat, kettle, right? It's like you I'm not going to say you started because that's very unfair to claim that Obama started the SJW movement. That is such a claim. It's not fair to him. I will propose that I do believe that he projected it and that he continued to progress it,
No, I think
i.e., a lot of the modern SJW talking points, and for him to to bring people to the understanding that, you know what, maybe Twitter's not so cool, even if Twitter's always supporting me and what I say. It's you once you're out of that bubble that is politics, believe it or not, things become so much more clear.
no, I think he noticed something. He noticed that the Democrats are gonna lose the next election easily, right? Because of what they're
If
doing.
they keep this up, yeah.
Yeah, because they're going so radically to the opposite direction. He's like, guys, you're alienating literally the entire population, right? And that's him passive aggressively trying to tell the Democrats to take a chill pill. And that's the key word for me, chill pill, because uh, when he said you guys are not activists, that's what everybody has been saying the entire time, except those who are participating, because Twitter is just a bunch of people waiting for like somebody to, for a finger to be pointed, so they're like, "Bleh," I just jump at it. And when Obama says that's not activism, sit down, shut the fuck up, um, that makes people pause for a bit. And there wasn't much outrage at his tweet. That's the funny part. People were agreeing, and people had enough. What did Hillary Clinton do? She said like, "Oh, Tulsi is being, groomed by the Russians again." She pulled the Russia card again, and people laughed their
Why does
ass
she
out.
keep talking though? Have you
I have
noticed
no
that? Why
idea.
does she keep
I have no
talking?
idea. And why does Russia, dude? I looked this like one of the guys sent me like a photo, and it's like What was it? It's like a hilarious post. Like let me find it. It's too good. It is too good.
But I don't understand with Hillary. It's like, do you not realize that the person you were up against, Trump, is constantly making an everlasting fool of himself day after day, right? Like there's a funny picture of like a gas. It's from a couple of years ago. There's like a gas station, and you know how you can put like little messages like on the price board, potential sales or anything you want to say, like have a good day. Uh, it's a gas station, and it has this this message that says free gas anytime Trump doesn't say something stupid. And I'm just sitting here like, how is it that Hillary, every time her name is in the news, is able to outperform this guy in this regard? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Because
Like,
she didn't learn. That's why.
I
She
know, but it's like you're up against the guy who he's like the equivalent of a guy that keeps tripping over a coffee table day after day after day. All you have to do is shut up, and people will eventually forget about even your email scandal.
dude, you have to
And then
understand.
you come back into the limelight. Russia, Tulsi. Why?
Dude,
First of all, why are you here? Second of all, why are you still talking? That's just my question. Why are you still talking? There are other better versions of you, Hillary. Kamala. Oh, you passed the torch on to a good one. Oh, she's next level evil. Have you seen her
oh
laugh?
yeah, oh yeah. No. Here's the thing. Hillary Clinton, when she lost, she wrote a book, and she made an entire book with the question and the
What
answer.
happened?
Yeah, what happened, Hillary Clinton? And she did not realize the irony of that title. She I think she's still in denial. She's like, I lost because, like some racist white guys, as Bill Burr said, came out of the forest, and started
The same
voting.
ones that voted for the black guy.
Yes, right. No, but here's the post, right? CNN, like it's like a post from RT, but I saw it and I laughed my ass off. CNN uses Fallout 4 screenshots and Russian hacking story, and Russia responds by using tweeting this: the use of toxins in Vietnam, boiling oil fields in the Gulf War in Kuwait and whatever, and they use like screenshots from like Fallout 4 as well. And
Oh
it's
my god.
yeah, and it's the most embarrassing thing for America ever. Can we get over the stupid Russia stuff? Every time there's a democratic debate, okay, some guy brings out Russia, and it's like, yeah, they hacked our election. Everyone, it's like a fact, and I'm like, guys, stop it. You are being children. Maybe if we repeat it enough, people will start believing it for 3 years now or 4 years. Get over it.
Well,
You
hold on.
lost.
Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to appreciate that they use Fallout 4 footage as opposed to Fallout 76. That would have just been the double whammy there. Uh no, that I know what you mean. The whole it's Russia every. It's an easy talking point, right? It's a very easy talking point for the Democrats because the Democrats' job essentially is to just dethrone Trump any way they can. Like, if you want politics to get dirty, wait for this election cycle. It's going to get as dirty as you've ever seen. I'm hyped for it. I can't wait to order my popcorn. I'm looking forward to it. A bunch of pseudo intellectuals, and let's be honest, that's a lot of what the Democrats are. They speak well, they sound well while speaking, they rehearse all the right talking points. A lot of people can do what they're doing, right? Beto O'Rourke, guy was textbook politician, right? Said exactly what others said he should say, and his poll numbers tanked, and now he's out of the race. I'm proud to say that all of the members that are left in the Democratic race actually have personalities. And that's what's going to make the election cycle interesting. But it certainly does not differentiate them or make them distinguishable in any way, shape, or form if they're all regurgitating the same thing about Russia and hacking the election. Here's the thing about Russia. I'll give you that not that they hacked the election, but I'll give you that they interfered with the election.
Yeah, that's
The
fine.
same way that China interferes with our election via social media? Oh, of course. And you don't think we do the same thing? You don't think we want somebody in office that benefits us, so we're gonna put out our own ads and we're gonna be subtle about it.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't understand how out of touch. And this goes for the Republicans as well, because the Democrats keep talking about it. The Republicans want to forget it, but the Republicans need to get their heads out of their asses too. Like, just acknowledge the fact that it happens to make the Democrats feel good. Give them that. They're like the kid that needs that candy bar. Just
No,
give
no, no,
them
no, no.
that.
I disagree with that one because the Democrats' children. If you say, well, maybe Russia hacked or influenced the election somewhat, so impeach Trump. You know, like they're gonna start throwing.
They're already there though.
It's like they're waiting for anything. Like Trump sneezes and it hits a child and he gets Ebola, and it's impeach. You know, I don't know. Like it's ridiculous. How
What kind of a
adamant.
stupid ass question is this, John? Are we still on this shit? Do you believe Obama was born? Get the fuck out of here. Okay, boomer. What are you doing, bro?
Are people
I'm just
still
like in the
like
middle of
this?
this tirade. I see this comment. It triggers me to the third power.
Uh, like, who cares at this point? He's out of office. What will happen if you prove that he wasn't born here? What you'll you'll take out Obamacare? Trump is doing that on his own. What do you want?
Here's if the Democrats want any advice, because like I said, I'm intrigued by all of the members that are left. Right, you got Sanders, you got Warren. Warren and Kamala actually interest me quite a bit because they're spawns of Hillary Clinton, but two very different ways of doing it. Kamala is evil and out in the open, right? She's even mastered like the smile and the evil laugh. It's there. Elizabeth Warren is calm. She has a plan for everything. She's very precise and tactical. She has a plan for everything except the most important thing that she keeps pushing which is the healthcare for all situation. But that's neither here nor there. You got Sanders, who's the crazy mad scientist old man.
Yeah, we're all gonna die
You
guy.
got
Yeah.
Tulsi. Yeah, you got Tulsi, who's like the calm and composed female candidate, but you have this background talking point that she could potentially be a Russian agent. You got Pete Buttigieg, the high school guy, who's just too young, but he's ambitious and he's like the underdog you want to root for. You
Is he
got
the guy?
Yang.
Is he the guy with the open mouth all the time who wants to take our guns?
No, that's Beto. He dropped out,
Oh,
thankfully.
thank you. Yeah.
We didn't have to listen. That was like the last guy. I'm like, look, leave everybody else.
Yeah,
Everybody
just
else will
kill
make
that
this
guy.
interesting.
Yeah, just take him out.
Why is Beto still here? Or I guess I justified it as he's the character in the show that you hate. He's just like the annoying one. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, why is Beto, like Hillary keeps talking? Why is Beto still talking? Why are you still in the race? You know?
Dude, I just realized. Do you know what would be cool if in the middle of one of the debates, either Sanders or Biden, either or, I don't care, just falls, just collapses.
My money's on Bernie. He gets a little hype sometimes.
No, Bernie is healthy because he screams too much. He's used to it. You know, his heart can take it.
Didn't he already have a heart attack though? He just had cardiac arrest like 4 weeks ago.
Oh shit. Oh fine. No, okay. I want Biden to fall because Biden would be funnier.
Oh, the Trump comments will be funnier. I told y'all, right? Sleepy Joe. Dude, I want to see Biden and Carson debate. Ben Carson? That's a show.
Which one is that?
Who falls asleep first, the candidates or the audience?
No, no. I love the candidates, and I love that Yang is there to make everybody else look stupid. And then he throws out a meme and does a pose, and next thing he dabs, and then the internet goes wild. You know, I just love that. I love, like, every time I see Yang, he's like, let me make everybody else here look stupid. Asian meme, Trump meme. Go to my website, donate to Patreon. Thank you, and then just leaves.
And meanwhile, you got Sanders on the next podium over like the pharmaceutical.
You know, just sounds like an overpassionate orchestra guy trying to just manage a group of non-musicians to make good music. That's how Sanders like. Obey for goodness
This
sake.
this is how you this is how you know you have good candidates or good personalities for the candidates. You can define them all by quirks, by their own lines, which is exactly what they want, right? They want something that you can distinguish in them and something reputable that you can be reminded of them by. So like with Kamala, you got like I was that black girl who got segregated. It's like no one fucking cares, but it's right. Like it's all right. You're reaching, but that's what we know you by. Elizabeth Warren, I have a plan for that. I have a plan for everything. Sanders, the pharmaceutical. Biden, uh, Yang, it's memes. It's Beto. It used to be. I'm gonna take your guns, and then everyone's in the like, no, you're not. Go away. Chew, chew. You know, it's
Tulsi,
like you can define them all as people. I love it. I can't wait. Ugh.
Tulsi is like with a sniper rifle. It's like, who am I gonna expose this time? Just sitting here waiting to kill somebody. That's how I imagine Tulsi. Just saying like, "Hey, Kamala, how does losing the election feel?" Bam! You know, just beautiful. Just
Hey Kamala, how does it feel to be the lowest in African American voters while claiming that you are leading an African voters while simultaneously being the Attorney General of California that locked up the most African Americans in the state's history? How does it feel? And she's just like, well, let me tell you a story about it. And I don't know, like she tried to expose Tulsi. Actually, it was just a bunch of backpedaling.
hold on one
On the flip side,
second.
though, seeing Kamala though get exposed is one of the most satisfying
Yes.
things about these debates, and it keeps happening now because she started it. Remember, she went after Joe, she went after Tulsi, she started going after people, and everyone told her, all the analysts, right? It's too early, right? There's like 20 people on the stage. Like this is the point where you actually try to compose your ideas, and no, but nope, not her. I'm gonna like you get a. It's like Oprah. You get a shot. You take a shot. You get a shot, right? And then everyone started picking up on it. All right, maybe that was the first debate. You know, first debate jitters. And then she comes up on the stage, and Biden calls her a kid because she is a kid compared to him. And dude's like 200 centuries old, right? And
I've seen
and
five
and
presidents. You
she
know.
starts attacking. She gets talky again, right? Starts attacking people, and now people have caught on. Now they're attacking her, and her polls have been dropping. I think they dropped for a little bit. They're pretty steady now, but she's not even in the top 5 anymore. So
Yeah, she's not gonna make it. I don't know. Like she should drop out and save face. Like she's not earning anything from it. But before we continue, I just realized we're in the India server. Let me just switch that. That's the reason there's been minor lag. There we go. Now we're European. Deutschland.
Deutschland, Colorado. What is that song?
I will not butcher the lyrics in public. All right.
Yeah, do it in the privacy of your own car when you're driving to your yoga spin class.
No, no. I'm driving to my work and I'm working hard, 6 hours a day playing video games. How dare you, Lewi?
Phew. Oh. Imagine being an engineer and thinking that you actually do work in 2019. Couldn't be me.
Dude, it's reached the point where people are opening the door and then trying to like peek at what I'm playing because they're that bored too. And I've half a mind to set up a TV, you know, just like so people can watch what I'm playing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
tell me more about that, and then maybe I can tell you more about how some of us have to work for a living.
Dude, I tried. Dude, my assistant or my senior engineer is supposed to take me out to places. He took me out once, but I guess I asked too many questions. He never took me out
So
again.
he's like, I'm gonna leave. I was like, I don't. This dude's taking this work thing way too seriously.
And my questions are rudimentary. What do you call this? How do I deal with that? What is what is my due? You know, what am I supposed to provide? Should I make a list? Can I take a look at your papers? You know, it's very simple questions, right? And then I talked about politics because I was bored in the car. And then next thing you know, like he I worked an hour for the past 2 months and I flushed toilets. That's the only thing I did. Oh,
You want to know the worst part about it too? Is I tell engineering friends of mine about your situation, and they hate you.
I
Never
know.
met you before in their life.
I hate
They
me.
despise you
I hate me, man. Dude,
because the engineers here actually have to contribute to society,
dude,
not just flush toilets.
dude,
What a brave, bold profession.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, I am living the YouTube dream, but I don't have to cater to anybody. What the fuck?
Hey, you're doing something wrong.
You know, I, like no Patreon money. No, no, I'm just being puked money. That's why socialism sucks, by the way. Okay, because money gets given to me for doing nothing but sitting there, right? And granted, there will be that one day of the year where they'll probably drag me somewhere. I've been through the meetings. I go to meetings and I just sit there because I don't know anything, and I see people
Oh, don't
talking.
don't worry, folks. Don't worry. He goes to meetings.
Yes,
Okay,
and
so do I. But go on.
but you know what I'm saying, right? Is you just sit there and you're like, would be nice if I was in my office doing nothing, you know? At least I'll be less bored. But regardless, I get provided money. Now, I happen to be a person who doesn't feel satisfied unless there are 5 projects running at the same time, and I make them work. So I go, I work on this, I work on that, I like do whatever I want, right? But a regular person who doesn't want to advance their career, they're just gonna be like they're gonna go to cafes and they're gonna sit in the cafes and drink their overpriced coffee and their overpriced sandwich, right? And that's it, dude. I went out once, right? Went to I wanted coffee, so and I forgot to bring coffee, so I went and I got coffee from somewhere, right? And you know, now that I have the employee perspective, I saw like this place is too crowded for 10 a.m. and they all look old. And then I realized what I just did, everybody's fucking doing every single day. They just check in work, there is no work to do, so they just bloody leave and do something else. And what that creates is just nobody doing anything. No wonder our country's so culturally fucking uh, denigrated. There is no incentive, and everybody's not hungry, and everybody can buy a PS4 once they get their paycheck. You know, it's it's a formula for disaster. I swear.
I swear, engineering. I mean, what what a sad, sorry profession. You should have gone into something a lot more noble with a payoff and a reward, like video game journalism. I see you, Hassan, in the comment section. My thoughts on video game journalism?
Okay, we're gonna keep video game journalism for now. We're gonna do first. Should I still go to college for engineering? Here's the thing: you're not gonna get hired
According to
anyway.
this guy, they're living the life.
No, no, here, if you get an engineering degree, sure, okay. Only if you go to a government position and you're gonna be assigned to work for an hour. In my current position, it's literally no work. I'm like, I would call myself unfortunate for that, but you know, my brother also got an engineering degree, same one, civil, and he got assigned, and he got thrown in a place where he works the entire time, and he made sure he did that. Like he could have worked for 2 hours and that would be the day, but he loves working, so he kept he did the whole thing, like went all the 9 miles because, oh, I want to continue a master's. Look at me, I'm now in Wales and studying. Oh, aren't I such a hard worker? Look at me. That's my brother, right? But here's the
Imagine
thing.
having a little brother that spends his time making YouTube streams with a loser with a South Park doll in the background.
No, 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 Louis, that's not
Do I even need to finish?
that's not the worst of it. What the worst of it is my family. Like my dad, he's like, oh, you never know. He's telling me to manage my money now that I have a good amount. He's like, you never know. You may want to continue the masters eventually. Wink, 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 wink. Like your brother. If you ever want, I'm not saying you should, but if you ever wanna, keep your options open. Wink, wink. It's the most like deliberate hinting I've ever seen in my life. I can only see my dad like I'm like if I'm in his shoes, like one brother, potentially PhD, right? If he ever decides to go for it, right? And then you see me, card games, video games, never leaves his room, spends hours just sitting here playing video games and playing with his little board on the side.
Playing with his little. I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Oh no, no, oh no. We are in an Islamic country. This is forbidden and against the laws of physics.
It's a family-friendly stream, guys.
Yes.
Get your heads out of the gutter.
But here's the thing: should you still go to engineer for college? I don't know. It depends on your employee opportunities. You should ask people who have engineering stuff and whether they get hiring opportunities. From what I hear, not very much, especially for an entry level position. You're gonna get your ass raped and you're gonna finish engineering, and then you're gonna realize for the next 2 years nobody will hire you because the degree means nothing without the experience. And you won't get experience unless you jump in, but nobody wants to risk it because anybody who graduates college is also a snowflake who can't take work until proven otherwise. I don't blame the companies per se. I blame the colleges for producing snowflake engineers. Um, so I don't know. You're
Well,
gonna have to look around your local area.
look, if you are in the States, engineers are like they're one of the most adored professions here. There will always be something for you to do here. I've yet to met any engineering graduate, excuse me, that fits the description of what Trillion does. If
Oh,
I'm being
definitely.
100% honest with you, every person who's involved in engineering always has something to do. What they hate most is the process to get there.
Yeah.
But as soon as they're working right, they make a decent living. You have to start off at an entry level position. Usually, you're not going to get a project management position from the start, obviously.
Oh, you
But
can't.
it's like you could, but here it's not as common.
No,
It's
no.
like any other industry here.
You literally can't for one main reason. Everything you get taught. Let's go civil engineering since we went project management. Everything you get taught at school. I won't say it's useless. Imagine spending 5 years just learning the vocabulary and the grammar, and now you want to become a writer, a novelist. That's what being a civil engineer or any engineer is. They just teach you how to talk the language. You're gonna work your way up, and you will You're gonna literally study for the rest of your life. That's what an engineer keeps doing. You're gonna have to keep opening books. You have to subscribe to engineering magazines. You're gonna have to look at the latest stuff. You're gonna have to work, and your boss. You have to look at everything your boss does, and you have to take notes. You have to continuously work your way up. Otherwise, you will get nowhere as an engineer. Engineering is like, you're a student for life. That's why like a regular engineering degree for me is up there with any PhD of any other discipline because you have signed your life to a disaster if you hate studying, like me. And it's not fun, man. It's engineering is not fun. You actually have to love the discipline. Otherwise, you're gonna struggle your entire life, and then you're gonna open a YouTube channel and then start a Patreon, and then Like all of them did. Like all of them.
And then eventually get big on YouTube and then tell your story, right? Start at the beginning about how you eventually you one day hated your life,
Yeah,
but then you grinded. You worked hard to get where you are.
played the
Don't you love that?
game.
I put in so many blood, sweat, and tears. Like, dude, you played video games for like every night and streamed it for 4 hours for 2 years. Like,
And you happen to be
eventually
funny,
gaining a
yeah?
following.
Y- y-
Yeah, like you gained a following. Oh, like this is true. Most YouTube channels that don't make it, it's because they're not consistent or they're not persistent. I guess the same context there. Uh, I've always said to somebody that if you want to make a YouTube channel, it's more about sticking to it on the long term. You'll find that the average channel that has, for example, 100K plus subscribers have thousands of videos on their channel.
Yep, uploads,
Most of them
uploads, yeah.
easily 800 plus.
Talk about the
I
newest
know because I
stuff.
did the research.
Yeah,
When I was
dude,
younger, I did the research. Yeah.
dude, it goes like this. It doesn't matter how shitty your content is, somebody's there will watch it if you upload enough, right? And all you have to do is like pass the algorithm test over 10 minutes. Um, talk about the latest stuff, play the latest games, talk about the most recent things because people will search for these. Eventually, somebody will like the cut of your jib and will click subscribe, and when you will just keep up with you, dude. You know H3H3, that podcasting channel, like what used to be comedy but now podcasting guy on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I recently got introduced to this side of YouTube. I wasn't really into it. But basically, what happened is I
Really?
started spamming Content Cup because I miss it, right? And then I moved to another channel. It's called Gurnakaru, and he's doing something like Content Cup. It's called Video Vigilante, right? And the one I saw was on the YouTube algorithm and how they are killing channels, like an hour and 20-minute video. It's a very good video, very well made. There's a lot of cinematography involved, like, much like Content Cup. It's like clearly inspired by Content Cup. And he did one before it on H3H3, right? And H3H3, I didn't know anything about him, right? So he does a podcast with Bill Burr, okay? And like, when in anime, like there's always in the sports anime, you're you're first playing with like the chonens, or with the kids, the high schoolers, right? And then you pass to the real league, and then everybody kicks your butt. That's what Bill Burr was to H3H3. He's used to like shitting on YouTubers, bringing YouTubers in, everybody respecting him, and then you bring out, the king of comedy of this age, right? Billy B sits down, and Billy B takes shit from nobody, and he just like dominates the conversation the entire way through. And H3H3 is like, I don't know what to do. This is, it's the most awkward Bill Burr interview, and there have been a lot of awkward ones. And,
Oh, I love the ones where he with like Colin Cowherd, his sports interviews, where he destroys any sports conversation.
it was a ridiculous sight to see, right? And that's what and come to realize is that H2H3's podcast didn't get popular because it was good. It got popular because it was on YouTube and enough people clicked it and enough people were talking about it. That's all there is to it, right? That's the YouTube game. Quality doesn't matter. Quality
Well,
channels
he
don't get
also
much views.
I won't entirely say that because this podcast does have its moments. It's not a podcast I follow regularly, but like H3, the whole shtick of his channel and of his brand is I am going to keep it within the confines of YouTube, right? You saw it with Bill Burr. As soon as I branch out, I get exposed. Or not exposed, that's not the right word, but I get put in my place. It's the same situation of like a YouTuber versus a real comedian, or a YouTuber versus a real actor, or like a YouTuber versus insert somebody who got to where they are
Amateur
not doing the YouTube
amateur
thing.
content versus professional content, basically.
Basically, yeah. And so you even see this with Lily Singh, which we can talk about this for a little bit. I know people are still up in arms about this. Lily Singh, one of the biggest YouTubers ever, one of the biggest female YouTubers ever, since we have to make that clarification now. If she identifies as one, which I'm pretty sure she does, a bisexual one, by the way. Uh,
The bees.
Lily Singh, I used to like her. When I was younger, I had a weird crush on her, but she recently got a late night talk show,
Right,
and
right. I remember this.
the internet hates it. And it went down as well as anyone you could have predicted, right? Like it's on, but the ratings aren't good. The jokes are stolen. The jokes are generic. They're all SJW driven. Like if you thought regular talk shows were terrible, the way you say your Fallons and the Jimmy McKimmels and all, all the
Your
if
Jimmys.
you thought
Yeah.
those if you thought those were bad, Lily Singh takes that bad into like Jedi level.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
stupid.
takes it to the next
It's
level. Yeah.
And you realize why that is. One, she's trying way too hard to be funny with content that she may or may not be writing. I'm being honest with you. It's a talk show, so she has their team of writers who are probably, and maybe she doesn't have as much of a say. The whole point, it just sucks, and
It's
it just
awful.
goes
Yeah.
to show how much of a difference there is and the disconnect between YouTubers and even Jimmy Kimmel. I actually didn't know how much I appreciated Jimmy Kimmel after watching Lily Singh in her talk show. I'm like, good lord, give me Jimmy, any of the Jimmys, any day of the week.
Here's the thing. People, I trash the late night shows a lot because I don't like the format. But you have to understand, those guys are otherworldly professional. You have to show up every day. There are no breaks. You have to always be funny. You always have to, give the guests the ability to actually show themselves. And you have to guide them properly if they're nervous. And half of them are nerds and they can't talk, so you have to talk for them. And every time you have to promote this or that, and then you have to do your SJW bit for the morning, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with it. And you have to pretend like that's your perspective, right? And it's a thankless job. There's no, I don't know how money they're making. It's not enough. It's not even close to being enough. And
No, and
it's a
what
thankless job.
it's exactly, and I remember watching and thinking, it got me to reconsider. I always knew it was a stressful job, right? You come in at the morning and then you start working, and then you have to be there. You basically have to be in the studio from dawn to late at night. So that's the first thing. Second of all, the people who are in that industry, that is their craft. They are professionals at that craft. There is a type of comedy, believe it or not, that embodies the talk show format.
Yep.
And Joe Rogan mentioned this in his own podcast because he's not a fan of talk shows, but he does appreciate the grind that involves that sort of comedy. It's a different branch of comedy, and to a certain degree, it does need to exist, if nothing more than to differentiate itself from the comedy that's actually of quality, like the Bill Burrs, the stand-ups, and the Dave Chappelles of the
It's
world,
for the
right?
casuals, right? It's you open a late night show before you go to bed. You get a bit of news and you get a bit of laughter, and then you close it. It's casual.
And it's family friendly, it's safe. It's like there is a standard because I guarantee so many of those people, while they couldn't be stand-up comedians up front, that's probably what they wanted to do, right?
It's
I'm
probably a
still convinced
safer.
Jimmy Fallon wanted to be a comedic actor. I'm still convinced of that. Why else would he have gone to Saturday Night Live?
Oh no, like to me, my main issue with the talk show guys is that they right now they turned from parodies and let's tell you the news in a funny way. It turned into like political statements and stances. They ruined their own shtick, and they did the same thing, like the same thing Kotaku did. started putting their own opinions in there, and it's like, shut the fuck up and make me laugh, bitch. Your job is to tell me or give me something to brainlessly watch until further notice. Your job, nobody will vote based on your opinion, you piece of shit. So how about you just make me laugh again? Do your job.
Basically, it's the simplest. But it all right. But everybody hated talk shows, and this is sometimes what you need. Sometimes you need something that's worse than what you already have to show you, hey, perhaps you can tolerate this. There were people that I know that absolutely despise the late night format. They despise the personalities. All you have to do to any of those people, if you want to get them to shut the fuck up, you show them a little late with Lily Singh.
And they're like, I appreciate
Wow. Wow, dude. Like, I'd rather be strapped in a chair and watch Jimmy Fallon on repeat.
Here's the thing with Jimmy Fallon. You want to learn interview psychology? You want to never fuck up an interview? Watch Jimmy Fallon. Because that guy is well trained, I tell you that much. And it mentioned, like you mentioned it in the comments. What's your name? Harlem. You mentioned in the comment he's fake. But here's the thing: he's professionally fake.
Basically,
he does it
right?
so well because he basically formatted his entire thing to make the other person shine while not paying any effort whatsoever. He knows what he has to say, how to cue it. Actually, you watch his interviews with Bill Burr, right? And Bill Burr is like chaos embodied in interviews, right? And he's struggling to maintain the facade. It's like, oh God, he's one of those, And but you see him with a regular person, like a nervous engineer who made, I don't know, who made a new whistle, and he's like, wow, how did you manage to make the whistle? I've tried it at home and it's tremendous. Tried it a little bit before stage or something, and he gives an interesting.
Somebody wrote it on the card.
Yeah, just wrote it on the card. Interesting detail. Whistle sounds like duck. It really sounds like a duck. And and the other guy is like able to like formulate his thoughts and throw it as like, I wish you the best. I cannot wait to see what's next. You can watch his show, blah 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 blah. Yeah, now fuck off. I have next. Give me the next segment, please. And it's all passes fine. I have no problems with how he does it. I just despise the format.
Yeah, like you just hate seeing it in practice, but you know that it's very innocent. Like it's not gonna hurt, right? Like it's nothing terrible. But wow, Lily Singh.
She offended you that much, huh?
It's because this happens a lot with YouTubers because they tend to follow the trends of what they want to be, which is television personalities or movies, right?
Yeah.
But as I've said, YouTube and the outside world, for lack of a better term, are two completely different industries. So we see this all the time. We see YouTubers get like a show and it gets canceled almost immediately. After the first season, it's gone, right?
Yeah.
Even PewDiePie doesn't want to branch out. He only wants to do YouTube exclusives because he knows that's where his audience is at. Or rather, his agent, whoever's representing him, whoever's in his ear, knows where his bread and butter is. But those YouTubers that decide to branch off,
they tried and they failed. They tried.
Yes, it's ambitious, but you only make a mockery of yourself because then people see, wow, you are way out of your league in this industry.
There's another thing they need to understand, like most YouTubers who try to branch out. You're gonna fuck up, and you better be ready for that. But they don't think that. They think they're gonna do good. And when they don't, and the first season fails, instead of like dissecting it, they'd be like, oh, let me go back to YouTube and just stick to that. Because clearly it was somebody else's fault. The production, the production team wasn't cooperating. There were creative differences,
And there's an ego when they fail as well, right? Because the whole part about paying your dues. Remember, that's contrary to popular belief. Entertainment has segments. and it has, or
Yeah.
rather, like different industries within that industry. And you get on YouTube, you pay your dues before making it. You accomplished that segment. Television, radio, any multimedia platform, music. That's a big one with YouTubers, right? Every YouTuber, because with autotune now, everyone can be a musician. So if you have enough money, you can make a music video. Uh,
Or charge somebody else to make it for you.
Basically, but all those industries have people that paid their dues, and the difference between you and like Future or something is that Future didn't go the YouTube route first. He just went straight to the music. So if you're gonna hop from YouTube to music, you paid your dues for YouTube, but there's an ego where I already have this following. I'm already good by the standards of YouTube.
Yeah.
I should already be good by the standards of this new industry. Wrongy poo.
Wrong
Not
audience.
at all. You have to pay your due if you want to make it, if you seriously want to make it. And it's a lack of persistence again. Because a lot of people don't want to go back and struggle again.
It's like when, those comedy actors try to do stand up because they think because they're funny on because they performed in, I don't know, a romantic comedy, then they're able to do the strip mall where people will boo you, um, where your
Yeah,
force
I
of
mean,
charisma cannot work anymore.
I've noticed that look, actor or comedian, stand-up comedian to actor is a much more organic
Yeah,
transition
definitely.
than actor to comedian, or yeah, stand-up comedian.
Because it's a way tougher audience. Because if you're doing arenas and people who show up who like you, that's fine. But if you're doing like random places where people show up there and on the weekends anyway, that's a way different ball game. You're dealing with anonymity, and anonymity is the worst for anybody who wants to do anything because you have to prove yourself. You know, like Aziz would tell me this about magic tricks, and he's like, if you're an unknown magician and you show up, your first act, your first trick, has to be one of the most glamorous, because if you don't catch them, if they're not under your spell from the first few tricks, then everything else you're gonna do won't be impressive, and you have to be theatrical. You can't just do the trick. You have to be theatrical. You have to do the magic. You have to grab something. You have to improvise the situation to catch their attention. And once you catch it, it doesn't matter how lame your next few acts are. You can do like math tricks. It doesn't matter because they're already caught in the spell. So even as a comedian, if nobody knows you, if you're not Bill Burr selling fucking arenas, and you show up your first joke has to be funny, and it has to catch and rub the audience the right way. And if it doesn't, your next one better do it quick, because your mediocre content, and you will have it at some point, will be that much better if people are already laughing and you're riding the momentum. But if you have a bunch of mediocre jokes, you're gonna die. You're done. People just won't laugh. Mediocre, okay, that wasn't funny, and it keeps ramping down. Just their interest in you, and eventually they're like, get the next guy, please.
It should be common knowledge these days that everybody pays their dues somewhere. Very few people are gifted at something or are able to strategically maneuver through an industry, to where there's very little opportunities for failure for them. The people that do that probably have a lot of people in their ears that are helping them get to that place. Most people that start off independent and want to do something, especially in those industries, you will pay your dues
Always.
somewhere, whether it be in the beginning, whether it be the growing pains in the middle, somewhere. Once you get too big and then you don't know what to do with it, we've seen examples of all of these. Some careers have multiple examples of them. It happens.
And here's the thing, I do want to answer the question proposed by Hassan about video game journalists, and it relates to all this, right? And I have a perfect example. I watch a single game reviewing channel on YouTube, only one, right? And it's called Zero Punctuation on the Escapist channel. And frankly, like they have other content, but people are there for zero punctuation. And what zero punctuation does is basically he has standards, and it shows. So, almost every game he plays, he trashes, and even if he likes it, he trashes it, but then says that he likes it, and just saying him saying that a game is okay, that buy that game, it's that's how high his standards are, right? And he has a segment about about the gaming industry, and whenever he does that segment, the opening goes something like this: "Let's all laugh at an industry that never learns anything, tee hee hee," right? And then he starts his, trashing the entire gaming world, and that's what game journalists are taking their job way too seriously, which is a mistake whenever doing a review. They are promoting everything wrong that should be taken from a movie critic and adding it to video games to feel professional. Okay? And video game journalists, generally speaking, don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't understand coding. They don't understand game design. They don't understand level design. They play a game and they're like, oh, Modern Warfare 4, 9.1 out of 10.
No, look, what's a video game journalist? It's a person who likes to write, who has a hobby about playing games. That's it. That's it.
Dude, I
If
argue
you
they're
tell,
worse than movie critics. They're way worse.
by far worse than movie critics. But I will proffer this at the moment. If you go to journalism school, there's a lot of prestigious universities that people go to learn journalism, and you say with a straight face, "I want to pursue video game journalism," get the fuck out of the office. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. They barely let people pursue cinematic journalism or whatever that's called. And the reason for it is tell me this isn't true. You read a video game review and you're like, all right, we get it. You can write. You like to write, and you happen to like to write about video games. But that's it. It's not like there's any talent involved
nothing.
here.
I like the part where the guy jumped up and down. That's a really interesting mechanic, and you want to use the mechanic because you want to sound professional. What? No, no, you piece of shit. You,
And the sad thing is, I'm not saying that people shouldn't write about video games, nor am I saying that people shouldn't review video games. What I'm saying is that a writer for these sites shouldn't have the title video game journalist. It should be like at the very least, it should be multimedia journalist. Write about a bunch of different things and how they correlate and compare to each other.
that
Right?
doesn't do enough money, though. Do you think?
It
Because
doesn't. I
because
wonder. Well, it has to be a lot better than the Modern Warfare is a great example because this is a game that already sucks Triceratops testicles. I can get onto this for the absolute worst Call of Duty ever made. Right now, they're fixing it immediately, and there's a conspiracy theory as to why it's so bad. I can get to that later. But the journalists, obviously they're having a field day with this game because it's easy. It's so
yes,
easy to have a field day with Call of Duty in general. This game just happens to be so much more shit than all of the other ones. It's literally unplayable until as of today. I think as of today, now people are being like, you can move now, right? Like,
oh yeah.
it,
Speaking of,
yeah,
actually, let me tell you
get me off
something.
this fucking
Oh,
topic.
dude, Death Stranding came out. You know Death Stranding?
I did, yeah,
Yeah,
or I do.
made by Japanese David Cage, Kojima, and it's horrible. Like even like regular reviewers are giving it like 6.1s and shit. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It warms my heart to see that guy is being shat on. And to be fair, because nobody wants to enrage the Kojima fangirls, right? All these like 12-year-olds and 20-year-old bodies who can't take a fucking opinion, right? And everybody's like, it's okay, but I don't like I don't know what I like about it, or the story really captures you, and they never talk about the gameplay. It's the most ridiculous, catering because if they don't, the torches, the video game fucking lifeless hacks, the beta males will start coming out of the woodworks, start trashing your website.
Dude, if you go on Twitch, there are two ads you will get. One of them is for Death Stranding, and the other one is for like that stupid Call of Duty dork, that former esports player who's like he's promoting Tostitos rolls, right? Exclusive with Call of Duty packs. We've gotten to this point, the worst Call of Duty. It wasn't bad enough that the game is so terrible and awful. Now they have to like package special prizes
Yeah.
in microwave food. It's such a meme. It's so bad. But the point is, you will get one of those two ads on Twitch guaranteed every single time. Keep refreshing the page. Don't have Twitch Prime. You will keep getting that ad. One of those two. I guarantee you.
Dude, and Hassan,
They are pushing this game hard, and the feedback does not fit the attention that it should be getting.
it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Like, dude, AAA titles. I've been saying this like the last 2 weeks. Like, AAA titles are just just all falling on their face together, like at the same time. And we don't even have to do anything. It's not like, oh, there's like a serial killer and he's killing all these AAA titles. No, 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 no. They're killing themselves. Like, everybody decided to like die together at the same time. Ghost Recon comes out, it's trash, absolute trash, and the CEO has to like do that Japanese thing where he's like, "Gozaimasu," I am so sorry. And then Fallout 76 releases their servers and they're buggy, and you have to pay $20 for them. And then Death Stranding comes out and it's horrible, and then like Modern Warfare or Call of Duty comes out and everybody's like, "Oh God," And one thing, Hassan, you said that Konami was justified, or maybe Konami was justified for getting rid of Kojima. Well, let me tell you, I was defending Konami from the beginning of this period. When everybody was taking Kojima's side, I'm like, I'm on Konami's side. Not because I'm team corporate, but because Kojima, I knew he was a piece of shit. I knew he was an entitled piece of shit. He puts his names on his games, and he's probably like walking around like Steve Jobs, and everybody's like, how about you fuck off? How about you fucking fuck off? And he's like, "Oh, troll, I made this pseudo company behind your back. Fuck you, Konami." And then Konami like slaps him around. I swear it's like a grudge match. It was a grudge match between the Konami employees and Kojima, because Kojima thought it was his show. And it was nobody's show. It's a company. And this trend will continue, okay? Video game developers are starting to understand that you have to actually make a game. It has to function. It has to actually be playable. It doesn't have to be good, but it has to be playable to make money. Who would have thought? It has to be fair. You pay $60, you get $60 worth of content. Wow. Who would have thought?
Dude, I'm telling you, we're moving backwards with it. There's a reason why free-to-play games are doing so much better than $60 titles, because $60 titles are already convinced that they're going to get your money, especially with the amount of pre-orders they get. I mean, there's a lot of people I know, and I encourage this, and I see your comment, Harlem, right? If you want the rant on Modern Warfare, maybe another time, but I will give you the rundown, as if you haven't heard about it already, right? Everybody hates the game.
Everybody
but
despises it, yeah.
I encourage everybody, get the refunds.
Yeah,
On
quickly.
PlayStation and Xbox, you have 14 days. On PC, I'm pretty sure they have like 30 days, right? It's
I think 2 weeks, same
just
thing.
as long as you don't have, just as long as you don't have that many hours in, right? Like if you hate it and you know you will hate it
Get out when
from
you
the
can.
start, yes.
Fuck off, it doesn't matter.
And
It's not worth it.
but it's and be persistent if you're on the phone, or if you're typing it out to the Origin or something. It's be consistent, be persistent, because they will try to keep you, right? They obviously want to keep that $60. They worked very hard to make that game that deserves $60. But the reason why free to play games are doing so much better than $60 titles right now, AAA titles, is because they have something to prove. They have something to make back. And before they can start making anything back, they have to make sure the game can actually stand on its
Yeah,
own,
retain
right?
attention. Yeah, like that's the most important part. You're in it for the long game as a free to play game, and you have to keep as many people playing as possible and paying as possible, and make it fair for the guy who plays for free and the guy. Like, it's a thankless process. Free to play games, I'm against them because they're just so hard to actually make the money back. You're just gonna end up reducing the quality of the content. But at least they're not Call of Duty. At least they're not Ghost Recon. At least people have been shitting on Pokemon. Okay, the newest Pokemon Sword and Shield. I will not play the game personally until it's proven to me that it's quality. But here's one thing I can expect. It'll be a finished game. Maybe it won't be that good, but it'll be finished. That's one thing the Japanese do. They finish the fucking games before they release them. Okay? You know, they overwork their employees to keep the annual schedule and they're dying because of it, but at least they finish their fucking game. You Western American piece of shit companies with your home fronts and your battle fronts and your loot boxes and your exploitative mechanics.
Surprise mechanics.
Oh, sorry, surprise mechanics. Like, how about we stop? You know, how about we grow up as an industry that never does anything? Tee hee hee. Okay, come on, for the love of God, let's pass this fucking teenage pubes phase, okay, and get over to being adults.
Look, as a and it's sad because a lot of these companies you would like to assume are run by competent adults. But we know this isn't the case, at least in Bethesda's case, because the only thing worse than putting out a $60 game that doesn't work and then selling like pre-order bundles with it of content that's technically bad for your health, right? Remember the bag or the helmet? It was like a health
Yeah,
hazard.
health
The only
hazard.
thing
Yeah.
worse than the only thing worse than having those two things and the servers down and the glitches that are off the wall. The only thing worse you can do is then add a subscription service and act like you're doing a favor for the community. Dude, I have to who some of the people are in these decision rooms. They have to be they all have to be on the same page of trolling. And it's legendary trolling. I will give them that. But for Fallout 76, there cannot be somebody you cannot tell me that everybody in that room
Thought it was a good
was
idea.
sitting there and was like, "Look, we fucked everybody over 3 times now. Literally 3 times within the span of 3 months, we have screwed people over. What can we do for them? Let's give them the option to pay even more for a better experience of an already broken game instead of just fixing the game."
Dude, and I have to blame the consumer at this point as well. They're not out of blame as well. You know, the people who actually pour money in this shit and trust companies and pre-order their crap. Why would you pre-order anything, people? Stop pre-ordering
Well,
shit.
that's my point. That was my point about pre-ordering. A title like Fallout, Call of Duty, they even Kojima's name, they have you by the balls already.
Dude,
There is a certain projection, a certain percentage that companies project they're going to get just off of pre-orders. Sometimes it's 2%, sometimes it's 12% of all their sales, sometimes it's as high as 30% or 50%. I've seen some crazy pre-order numbers.
dude, to me it's crazy because Cyberpunk, okay? That game, I know for a fact, even if it's crap, I will buy it and play it. Okay? I know that. I still didn't pre-order it.
Me neither,
I'm not gonna. I'm not.
but I'm
I'm not.
probably gonna.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what your pre-order bonus is. Okay? I won't pre-order your game because I don't trust you. No matter who you are, don't pre-order. Wait until they prove the game. Let them send it to fair reviewers. Have some people who can afford it buy the game and give you their opinions on whether it's completely trash or not, and then make a decision. A calculated decision. your hard-earned money, in my case, not very hard-earned, but for most people, hard-earned money should be spent on something worth it. Something you can use. For goodness sake, people. Okay? Stop catering, to this like structure that we've built, pre-orders, loot boxes, DLCs. For the love of God, we are a part of the problem, and we need to recognize this. Okay, our obliviousness and buying of why do people keep buying the football games and the NBA games? You're buying the same game. Why would you buy it?
There was a joke about that, about the 2K games. It's you're basically paying $60 for a DLC package because it's just the teams change. That's it.
You can't. Yeah, I can't. Okay, I can't even right now. I need to breathe. Okay, because
I actually have a rule with the 2K games.
yeah,
I buy them every 5 years. By then, that's enough to where the rosters have changed, the
you know what?
graphics are changed, the
More power to you.
mechanics.
More power to you. I'm not saying don't play the game. I'm saying don't buy it every bloody year, like a fucking sheep. You know, because some people are oblivious. There's a new NBA game. Oh, it has to be good. Let me buy it. They don't even think. And EA caught on to this. That's why they keep releasing the bloody things, right? It doesn't matter. Add a new, jersey for Missy or for Ronaldo or the fuck the new guy is, whatever he is, and just release it. Oh, instead of character profiles looking like this, now you have cards. You have a different menu now. Ooh, the stakes are higher. It's ridiculous.
You
It's so
you
bad.
must give credit. You must give credit where credit is due, though. Uh, 2K and EA and FIFA. No, EA owns FIFA, huh?
Yep.
All these companies that put out basically Activision the same games over and over again, year after year. There was somebody at one point in the marketing department who deciphered how to do this and was able to identify how it can be done. Apple does the same thing, right? There is somebody who was able to think this through and was able to grab a lot of people by sus huevos or
It's
ovaries. We're inclusive here,
and
and
it's
was able
still
to
it's
confirm that. Yeah, was able to
to
confirm their sales year after year.
to me it hurts my pride. Okay, to see somebody unwilling. Okay, to pay $60 for a game, but willing to pay $500. Okay, for the loot boxes in it to get the skins he wants.
Hey, you shut your mouth.
Louis,
We don't want any problems here, Trillian. All right.
Louis, we've all did it. Okay, I'm as guilty of anybody as anybody. I don't do loot boxes, but I do put a little bit of money to skip a few things if I like the game. Mainly, one part I justify it like let's support the guy or the company and get something out of it type of thing. But $500, I never got close to spending that amount of money.
I needed that knife, and it wasn't. I did not spend 500. That's just the max that you could spend in
Uh huh.
theory.
Louis, would you have paid for the game Apex? Would you have paid for it?
Would I have paid for Apex? Probably, yeah.
Justified. But people complain about needing to pay $60 for a game like Apex, example like Overwatch if it was good. I'm not paying $60 when there's a free option. PUBG versus Fortnite. I'm not paying for PUBG. What the fuck? I play Fortnite. And then they spend all that money on Fortnite. And you're like, did you realize what you just did? You know, and I'm embarrassed that people don't realize it.
Well,
That's
that's been my exact position. It's like the people Look, games like COD did this the worst, right? Hey, we're gonna charge $60, $50 for a battle pass or a season pass, then probably $20 at least coming in December for a battle pass. So they have to fix the game quick before the battle pass comes out. Uh, how much money have you already dropped there in theory if you're a hardcore avid COD fan? You know, but a free to play, right? And I hate how free to play games get the excuse off this. I'm not against free to play games making back their money. They need to do it somehow. As always, I'm against the fan bases.
Yes.
Uh, a free to play game can put as much as they want on sale. I don't like loot boxes. I don't like gambling the money away. But again, that's another genius marketing tactic that somebody was able to construct.
I,
You know,
I
the
actually
concept of microtransactions.
Actually, there's a way to do it fairly, okay? And I like Hi-Rez, the company that makes Paladins. I like the way they do their loot boxes, okay? Their chests, the way they do it is um, you need to use the in-game currency that you either grind for or pay for, okay, to buy these, all right? Let's say there are 20 items in chest. Let's be even more ridiculous. Let's say 300 items in the chest, okay? And you can roll any one of them when you open a box. Once you get the item, you can't roll for it again. So if you if you want to guarantee the item, we just want this fixed amount of money for the entire thing. And you may not need to pay the full amount, but that's the maximum amount you're going to build. There is no percentage chance, and you need to keep opening. And if you get an unlucky roll, you get an unlucky roll, right? So, for me, for example, like if I want a specific skin, and they have a ton of different chests. So some chests have 60 items, other has 30. So your chances are different. So you can make a calculated decision in which things you want to get, right? And then you can go to the Gwent system for card games. For Hearthstone, the way they do it is like RNG, and there you go. Well, Gwent does that for the same way. But the difference is, if you get duplicates in Gwent, you can turn these cards into scrap, and then you can use that scrap to craft any card you want if you meet the value, depending on its rarity. And so, even if you don't open the things you want, you'll open some of them, and then you can scrap the things you don't want, and then use those to get the cards you want. So again, there is a way to get the things you want without spending too much. That is a fair way of making money. You can make money because both games were free to play, right? And you don't have to screw over people. And they can still get the stuff they want without spending too much. They can make calculated decisions. That will encourage somebody like me who's very careful about loot boxes. How about you do that? It's fair.
So you hate the duplicate system.
I hate that it's fully RNG. That I can't grind the odds. I just have to leave it to God. Because I'm very unlucky. Okay? I'm horrible. I roll zeros with dice rolls. I draw the worst cards in any card game in existence. I am notorious for my bad luck. So the way I compensate for this is I try to play the odds as much as possible. Just for that off chance. When I get lucky, okay, it's a genuine surprise for everybody. Right? Like yesterday, I played Magic, okay? And I have one of the most consistent decks ever. 4 copies of everything, okay? I whiffed I lost because my deck did not just allow me to win. Okay? It was that simple. I'm that unlucky. I need to play the odds because I'm never getting that knife. I know that. I'm never getting it. Why even bother? Unless I can play the odds.
Well, the thing is, like, the reason why everybody hates it, obviously people hate the duplicate system, and people have hated it for a while, which is why it was them digging their own grave when Black Ops decided to add duplicates. Oh, but you can only get the duplicates once. They said that. They said that there's over thousands of things in the game you get. per box, you get one.
Yep.
And they actually said, yes, duplicates are a thing that can happen, but you will only get a duplicated item once. They said that. And then now this is the funny part. They're allegedly fixing the entire store tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But I actually think Apex has the best model for this, and it's because they keep learning, because they keep pissing off the community. Apex is interesting because they started out, they made everybody happy, right? They were up here, and then they offered a free event with a lot of free cosmetics, and they got up to here, and then they came out with their next event, and you had to spend what was it, like $170
Really?
at
Holy shit.
least,
Holy shit.
to get everything you wanted. And if you're like me, because I don't have that good of luck either,
It's gotta be more, yeah.
yeah, I had to. Yeah, you like there were some people that had to spend $100 for that skin they want, and so they dropped down here, and then they came out with their new event, and they're like, all right, we learned from the last one. You have the option to spend 170 for the loot boxes for the event, but with the event, you will also have these loot boxes. When you pay for the loot boxes, you'll have other cosmetics that you can get from the normal pool. And you're guaranteed one item in the loot box from the event. Or you can purchase the event cosmetics individually. Or you can craft them using the currency in the game if you've saved up enough and if you grind enough. So that's 3 different options that people, after they pissed off so many people.
Yeah. I still think you should cash in the cosmetics you don't want and use that cash in money to get the cosmetics you want. Because the money, you already spent the money. You might as well get what you wanted.
I mean, I'd rather just be like, I'd skip that whole process, and I'd rather have, honestly, the Fortnite way of doing things. Just have something in the store that's available for direct purchase
Yeah, that too can be.
and let people buy it like that, Or this is the way I would have it personally. Is you have a store tab, right?
Right.
Like all these games, they have the tabs, like play, battle pass, skins, settings, right? At the very end, you have something called store. You go to the store tab, and it has everything that has ever been released in the game. It's all organized. It's all, if it's like Apex, you can go, you click the tab for like Gibraltar skins, or like this gun, like the flatline gun, or like this. You go to all these and all these tabs, and you can eventually find exactly what you want: skins, attachments, anything, and you're able to buy it directly, and the prices are accordingly, and the prices are fair. And there's no RNG, and I guarantee you probably won't make as much as loot boxes, because people go nuts with loot boxes sometimes. But you'll still make a decent amount of money, and it's a small price that you're gonna pay, giving back that money essentially, so that you won't fuck over your community and get people upset. Because a lot of people do leave these games eventually.
Yep.
Because they just don't have the funds for it.
And in the end, they're cosmetics. You want people to look the way they like, and again, it's just let people have fun. How about that? Because that's the thing. It's a game. We're supposed to have fun here. If somebody has fun by flexing,
Nonsense. Never have fun, And you know whose fault it is that we can't have fun anymore? All those YouTube TTV dorks, that put that in their names, and then you check out their channel and they have like one person watching, and it's you because you just got there. Right? All these sweats out here that are like, I have to have everything. I have to spend daddy's credit card to get the best skin. And it's like, bro, I just shat on you in this game, and my username's a bunch of numbers. Like, I'm not saying don't be a Twitch streamer. Just don't be a TTV Twitch streamer. How about that?
just I want Twitch to die as quickly as possible, but the boost streamers will keep it up, sadly.
Here's the thing. I actually don't despise Twitch. I think there's a lot of, I think Twitch, if Twitch wants to embody the community, if they want to claim the community of streaming, I think they have the best chance to do it. They're in competition with YouTube because they keep screwing up. So it's like YouTube keeps attracting people, but a lot of people are still on
Dude,
Twitch. And I wouldn't be against going to Twitch eventually if they just,
if they fix their
for one,
shit,
if there we go.
that's my problem. You have something beautiful. Dude, I was so disappointed. Like a year ago, I'm like, oh, this Twitch thing is really interesting. I can watch the people I like streaming. I don't have to watch YouTube. I can do it live and I can play it here on the side while I'm doing something else. This sounds brilliant. This is perfect. And I jump in and then the servers were laggy because Twitch here just I don't know why it just doesn't work that well with our internet connection. So I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. I guess I'll wait till they fix that, right? And I was so disappointed. I'm like, I want to watch Twitch streamers. I want to support this platform, and everything is great. Alternative to YouTube, nice, everything. Then, the head started rolling, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Who does that to their own people? What the fuck? Like permaban, 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 permaban. You said go to the kitchen, permaban. You said permaban. Stop it. Stop killing your own platform. You have something good here. I despise Twitch because, as usual, somebody on their period, okay, male or female, okay, we don't discriminate here, okay.
Is running the terms of
Yes,
service, right?
it's like how do I screw over this company? Like I really liked what the Gillette ad did. This is a very interesting effect. I need to replicate it for my own company. You know, I want to join the trend. Stop it. Stop ruining things. Okay?
There was that one female director who came out and said she took a lot of heat for it, but I'm glad that she said it. Stop making strong female characters. And she means it in the sense of stop forcing them down people's throats. Stop forcing every character that gets made now to be a strong female character who don't need no man and all that bullshit.
Dude, what happened to the strong mom? Where's that archetype?
But it's like her whole message was obviously it was meant to embody an entire point that you can apply this to so much. It's stop pushing this narrative, whatever it may be, down people's throats because you are driving them away. And even if it takes a while for them to drive away because they wanted to experiment and eventually they thought that was a new hit thing. Oh, it's cool to have this thing. And then they come and they find that that's all there is. That's all they're allowed to have. They don't want it anymore.
Dude, I watched an animation recently on Netflix. It's called Disenchantment or something like that. And they had like a female with a sword, right? And I'm like, ugh, right? But I was bored. So I'm like, okay, give it one episode. Just one, okay? Maybe it's good. Who knows, right? I like animations. Let's clicky clicky. I click, right? And suddenly it wasn't the strong female character. It was a rebellious female dealing with being an entitled medieval princess. Okay? And it was amazing. I loved Disenchanted. Blazed through it, right? For one reason. Because it wasn't the strong female character. She was just a chaotic, entitled, spoiled brat who wants to branch out, but because she's entitled, doesn't know how. It's beautiful, right? And then imagine if it was done by the team who made Batwoman.
Ugh.
She would have led an army, okay, and overtook the kingdom, you know.
from her own, like her male father,
Yes, the her no no it's not her father.
who hates her because he hates daughters and hates women.
No, no, her father was a weak king, okay, and he's manipulated by some sly Voldemort figure or something, okay, and she has to save her idiotic, dad from all the woes, and you get the embodiment of the patriarchy in the form of the minister, and the weakness of men in the form of the king. And here's the strong female here to take over. And then the king passes the throne and goes into early retirement. And then she stands on the top of all these men that try to take everything away from her.
A pile of them, right, on
Yeah.
top of the castle.
It's like the Iron Throne, forged from the swords of all the dicks of the men who took over, who tried to take over the.
And the funny thing is, you don't think she'll do it. Like, you don't think people will run with that story, but they absolutely will. And the narrative will be something like, she'll save the king, right? Like, she'll upstage her king father, even though the king has been like the king for 30 years, so he should know what he's doing. But no, this is the Harry Potter effect, by the way.
Yeah.
This is why I hate this story. The the whole like the
Teenagers say the
teenagers
worst.
are always
Yeah.
right. These kids that they barely know how to wipe themselves are suddenly telling adults how they should run the world.
And
And
it
they don't even
works.
play it off as like
And it works.
and it always works, right? Like breaking the rules, that's cool, right? And they always play it off as like, or they never play it off as, oh, the purity and the innocence of child, right? Because children are very innocent, and sometimes like if somebody's being mean, the child will tell you the truth, like, hey, don't be mean, right? Like, let's just all be friends. It's cute and it makes sense, right? Let's just all get along. Obviously, in the real world, it doesn't work like that. But they don't even play it off as like that message. It's no, I'm a kid. I empowerment fantasy. I want to break the rules, and because I break the rules, I save the world. And
And
it's just and it never makes sense, but that's the way it works.
I want a show where it doesn't work. And then the character grows up, 5 years time skip, and now he's an
Yeah.
adult who's like nihilistic and hates everything. You know,
And has to learn how to regain. Yeah, it
like
could happen, right? Like
that's
that's
a
a good.
character arc. I try to rebel, but I realize that sometimes I have to work within the system and while I still need things to change, I can't reject everything. You know, there's a moral, there's everything you need. No, 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 no. The teenagers are against the establishment. They're all adults that look creepy and want to control the world. They're all China basically, and um, us teens. Imagine a bunch of Chinese teens, okay, trying to overthrow the government. Guess what? Colleges did it. Guess what? They're dead now.
That's actually a good way to put it, right? Like in your heart of hearts, just imagine there's like a dystopian future, and there's killer robots, and there's like an ongoing war, and the first scene of the movie, it zooms in on a kid, right? Like a teenager who's determined. Just imagine though, like in your heart of hearts, in today's day and age, whenever you see teenagers nowadays, what do you see them doing? They're on Snapchat. They're making TikToks.
Yeah,
They're picking their noses and
the Fortnite dancing in
playing.
the background.
Yeah, like these are the people that we're trying to be convinced. I'm not saying you shouldn't have teenagers as heroes, but what is it with all these teenagers in these movies that like are not allowed to have fun? Have you noticed that they're all super mature for their
Yeah,
age, but still ignorant enough to give off that vibe that, hey, I can relate to this person because I used to be that ignorant.
dude, I liked how Stranger Things did it before they went woke. I never watched the show, but everybody tells me about it, right? And it's like it's just a bunch of kids using their kid creativity to solve a mystery. And I'm like, holy shit, that sounds like Jumanji, back in the day. Like a bunch of kids having fun, and the dad isn't fucked. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. All that. It reminds me of that vibe. What happened to that? Home Alone, you know, where what's that gay, what's that guy? Just, you know, the classical, like, you know, holidays film. You know, I loved Home Alone so fucking much because it was goofy. The entire
Oh,
thing
we
was
watch it
goofy.
every year. Yeah, it's great.
I, who doesn't love Home Alone? You know, because it's goofy, it's fun, it's fun for all the family, literally. Then you look at the Hunger Games, right? And it's like, oh, the government is putting you in a battle royale. What will you do? You know,
Yeah, like what is the like what's the age of the character? How old is Katniss in that? I've never read the books
16.
or watched the movie, but she's like 16, 17, I'm guessing, right?
Uh,
It's what were you doing at 16, 17?
Me? Trying to grow a YouTube channel and making fun of anime on YouTube because it was funny.
Doing reaction videos with the laptop in the background instead of actually editing just to make people
Playing for 60 hours on the PS2 because I couldn't afford the PS3 and I was too like shy to actually ask my mom for one.
You see though? No, not the characters in these fantasy stories, and they can get away with it too because it's fantasy, right? It's not supposed to be real, but come
Yeah,
on, like characters are supposed to be relatable. I always laugh when people say, "I relate with this character," and the character's like a Harry Potter. It's like, why?
because he's the
You're
chosen
not the
child.
chosen.
No,
Yeah,
no,
you're not the chosen.
they
Oh, because they
appeal
feel
to
entitled.
yeah they appeal those things appeal to the worst part of your human psyche. You know, all the parts that want to feel good and feel special, but you know you're in real life. So you try, for example, to say an edgy statement in dinner, and then your dad looks at you and is like, "Shut the fuck up," you know. You know, just trashes you for saying something stupid. And you're like, if I was Harry Potter, you know, you know.
He's the only one that understands me. Right, like you're like right, like it's like since we've all seen this, right? We've all seen like
Yes.
we've been at, and we many of us have even done it. Right, that's how we know about it. It's like you show up at the table and it's like he made chicken with cauliflower. I hate cauliflower. Gives me gas. And your dad's like, "You want to say something? Like, why are you whispering?" Like,
Okay, I never did that here. I don't know about. Basically, my experience with having lunch is trying to do it with the least amount of words possible, because you know family gatherings, even on a lunch level, which we do here, is just ugh, kill me. Ah.
no,
I've
dude,
I've generated a meme. I focus too much on food. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's what I do. I like food too much.
bro, the best example I've seen of this, of what I'm talking about, and I was at a friend's house when this happened. He got super edgy at the table, which it made him look like a complete dork. That's what it does.
Yes,
You don't
yes,
look
it does.
cool at all. You don't even look cool to your friends. He like there was some mishap. They got pizza, right?
Right?
Nobody complains about pizza, but because he has to be edgy and like try to impress his friends, he has to try to impress us. He gets super antsy about the pizza. And he's like, "Well, I wanted this slice, and why didn't you get this size?" Well, and it's like, "Well, I might want more." Anyway, it was something stupid about the pizza. I can't remember. It was like, and like mushrooms were on it or something. And he eventually comes to the logical conclusion,
Hmm.
whispering under his breath that he should run away, and he threatens it, like, "I might run away over pizza." And
Ah.
and everyone just sitting there like, he, it's awkward, but it's also just stupid because now there's other people from other households that are witnessing your stupidity. And we're kids. What do you think we're gonna do? We're gonna go back home and we're gonna tell our parents, and then there you go. You start the tree
Yeah,
of information spreading
the
of your
gossip. Yeah,
stupid edginess.
the gossip
Well,
starts.
maybe
Yeah.
I remember how he said it too. He's like, "Well, maybe I just might run away." Or his mom or his dad is like, "If you don't like it, then when you get your own place, you can like order
Yeah.
your own pizza or something." And he's like, well, that day can't come soon enough. Maybe I just might run away. And he thought he was so cool.
Yeah.
If he had glasses, he would have done the. Do I still have these on?
Holy shit! You had them the entire time, huh?
Oh my god. And he said, it's bright, man. He thought he looked super cool. He would have, if he had the glasses, he would have flicked them up like nothing personal. Kid, like, shut the fuck up. Like, this, like, you're making everyone cringe and feel uncomfortable.
See, that's why I appreciate my family. Our family is basically like this. If you say something stupid, you will pay for it for the rest of your life. Okay? I am not joking about it. For the rest of your life, it will be brought up every time you do something stupid. On every family gathering, they'll make it the highlight. And it's fair because they do it to everybody. It's not like, oh, it's on you. No. You get to do that to other people too. I was raised in a bully family, okay? And it's not my immediate
Same
family,
here.
it's my family in general. And I can't appreciate it enough because when I came out of my family into the real world and I applied what I learned and grew up with to other people, I saw the looks on their faces, the snowflakes flickering from them, right? But if they accept it, they become men, right? And
Dude, it prepares you for life.
And it's all the funny part. All the bullying wasn't good fun. That's the most important part, right? It's the same reason we love comedy in general. It makes light of a situation that somebody's taking too seriously, and through that you get to see your own stupidity. So when he said maybe you should run away, it's like maybe you should shut the fuck up and you just keep eating, you know, and everybody laughs. You're like, oh, okay, that was dumb. Okay, maybe you should shut the fuck up. It's not clever enough, but you get what I mean.
No, I got the clever. No, I got the clever one. I mean, we've all threatened running away. That's a common kids, right? I'm just always gonna remember what my mom said. She's like, she opened the door and said, "Be my guest," because she knew I was gonna come back. I was like 12. What is a 12-year-old gonna do? They run down. It was at night too. I ran down the block, got cold, and came back.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, I never did that. Uh, the way here's the thing. I loved my room too much. Okay, but I was like, I had no opinion. And whenever somebody is like, why don't you tell your dad you want this, you want that? I'm like, if I eat their food, how can I have an opinion? It was that simple with me. My father feeds me. If I disagree with him, he may not feed me. So why risk it?
You've taken a much more extreme approach, I can see, but I understand the.
No, because I still came from that generation where you fear your dad, you know? And that you respected and you feared your dad. You don't want to make him angry. And it's not like because he was cruel or he had anything. It's because you just feared your dad. It was that simple. You know, you want to say something to your dad, you say it through your mom because you're scared you can't. You know, that's what my generation. You know, because your dad was God. You know,
I'm 1 year younger than
no, that's why we can relate, right? But I never threatened to run away because I was genuinely afraid that if I said that I want to run away, my dad would lock the bloody door. He would never do it, by the way. My dad loves us to death. Okay? But as a kid, I'm like, what if he does it? What if he does it? What am I going to do then? Will I beg on the street? You know, my allowance was literally like $1 back then. What am I gonna do? Just save up $16? You can't.
That's what it is every single time, though. Is like if you threaten to run away, I don't know. You just had like a bad day at school. Somebody outbuilded you in Fortnite. You got mad, right? You're kind of pissy. You're steaming at the head. Your face is red, and you say the wrong thing, and then your parent pushes it a little bit more, and then you push it a little bit more, and before you know it, you're out the door. And then you come back because you saw somebody that looked kind of creepy at night, and you run back because you realize you're not ready for the real world. It's a wake-up call.
To me,
it's very brief, but it's very, very compelling.
all I've ever wanted as a kid is just to play video games and be left the fuck alone. Like I remember, like as a kid, like which is strangely like, which is strange now that I think about it. My entire family would be sitting at the living room, okay, and talking to each other, and I would be in my room playing video games, right? Not even on the internet, right? Like there was no internet back then. I would just play video games, and uh, the Game Boy, because the PlayStation 2 was not allowed to be in anybody's room. It was placed separately so you can communicate with people, right? But the Game Boy was
It's in the
allowed.
family room.
Yeah, in the family room, right? So I'm like, okay, fuck the PS2, I guess. I'm gonna play this fucking game here, and just playing on the Game Boy for hours, and then the PSP came, the same thing, right? And then laptops started coming. It's still the same thing. Till this day, this is my safe haven. I just sit here and just like 5 days a week. I just disappear. I show up for lunch. I say hi. I make chit chat, and then I sit in my room for the rest of the day. Maybe go out if I have friends to go out with. It's that bloody simple. I love it. I love my living standards. Very homely.
And it's I like it too, and you learn a lot about that as a kid, um, which is why I appreciate it. Like I appreciate that I had that experience running down the block and realizing, oh, like as a kid, you never want to accept it
Yes.
because you're still stubborn. So you're like, oh, I'm coming back because I forgot my jacket, or I'm hungry, and I might as well eat before I go. And then by the time you eat, you forgot about the whole scuffle. But on that note, I will go ahead. I'm going to pull a U today. I need to
Okay.
use
Sure.
the little boy's room.
Okay, I'll wrap this up here. Any shout outs, last words before you go?
Oh, before I go.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
so
let's wrap
you're
this
gonna
up here.
end this. You're gonna
Yes.
end this with me off.
Yeah.
Let's just end it right now. I
look,
can hold
okay.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's wrap up. Okay. Go ahead. Send your shout
All right.
outs.
So all right, but shout out to the big man upstairs. Thank you for making all of this possible. Thank you for making sure my house was sit. The fuck did you just do? What?
I'm with you in prayer, Lewi.
do it again, please. All right. All right. I needed to see the whole thing.
Yes, it needs to be the Christian dab needs to be a thing, people.
There's a fruit fly in my. I hit it. I hit it. I don't know where it went. Ew, it's on my finger. I killed a fruit fly. All right. It was something bigger than a fruit fly. Anyway, shout out to that fruit fly for keeping my reflexes intact. Shout out to everyone that came to the stream to watch the comeback. Shout out to Hassan. It's still around here. For carrying the stream last week, because God knows Trillion wasn't going to do it. Shout out to Ma for carrying the stream the week before. Shout out to my homie, my partner in crime, Cartman back there. He's been laying on that pillow for the past 2 hours, listening, waiting.
Waiting
Soon.
on the bed.
Soon. And most valuable comment, MVC.
Yeah, Hassan's gonna take it. Like he's been puking out fucking. Puking
He's
out
drawn
fucking,
for the gold every week.
Yeah,
I like it.
He became like a regular. It's like he is as part of the stream as we are at this point.
Well, we know that he can converse himself well. So when you need a break from the comments, bro, let us know.
Yeah, we'll just jump you right back in, easy.
Let somebody else have a chance.
Yeah, just VC.
I flat out tell I flat out have friends tell me I just can't keep up because I start listening to the conversation, and then by the time I think of something to comment, Hassan already has like 10 paragraphs written, and you're just like, well, I'm not beating this.
Well, you don't just try anyway, because another factor is how, like, if it was a funny comment, if it was a question that directed the conversation, we'd give you a VC anyway. So it's not just about puking. So keep that in mind, people. This is a very important position, and we treat it fairly. every time.
Word.
On that note, thank you all for tuning in. Um, Same time every Saturday or Friday in your case, Louis. Um, Salt Grinder out.
Woo! Woo! Choo choo! Choo choo! What am I doing?
It's still on.